Hi everybody, this is Ben Fisher with thehostingnews.com, and here we're today we're here with Jeff King and Chris Carfey from GoDaddy.com. They've got some really cool stuff that they're here to talk about today. One of them is the managed WordPress product, and the other is about GoDaddy Pro, which is actually pretty exciting. Jeff, you want to give us a little bit of insights about GoDaddy Pro first?
Sure. Thanks, Ben. I appreciate you having me on, and it's good to see you again.
Yeah, definitely, dude.
All right. Yeah, great. There's actually two major things that we're announcing today. We've been in beta for some time with thousands of customers that are basically helping us co-develop it. But the two things, as you mentioned, are a big change to our WordPress product, but also what's really exciting is the GoDaddy Pro program that we've developed. We've been working on this for a while, really, and it started with really understanding our customers very well and learning about how small businesses get their websites online. One of the key insights that this all started from is really when you talk to small businesses, really about half of them actually use a professional of some kind, whether it's a brother or cousin that's more technical. We tend to classify those guys as like moonlighters who are doing it on the side for free or for low cost, or a full-time freelancer, developer, designer, or agency. And about half of these small businesses actually use one of these professionals to get online. And these guys have very specific needs and problems that we tried to address with GoDaddy Pro. And so that's what this program is all about.
Yeah, one of the stats actually that I was listening to earlier today is that you found out that the growth in web developers and designers is actually growing at a rate of about 26% year over year.
Yeah, it looked like it's about 20%. We did some research in the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, and that particular segment was growing faster than the average for all other types of jobs. So yeah, I believe it was around 20% or so for the next at least 5, 6, 7 years or so. It's also really interesting that a large number of those small business customers that we do have work with individuals like this. So I think it's probably up around half or so of the folks who are bringing websites online are actually working with the designer or developer to do so.
Right, and this fits with the overall GoDaddy's kind of shift to kind of helping the global economy, right? And really getting in touch with, helping web designers and developers kind of really just kind of focus on their business, not have to worry about everything that comes when it comes to hosting, and we'll get to WordPress later. But when it comes to hosting, kind of allowing you to kind of take care of more of the technical needs and letting them kind of service their customers.
Exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is make a professional look great to their clients. If you sit with these guys, it's really easy to discover some of their pain points, especially with hosting and such. One of the things that comes out right away is we see people, and if there's freelancers and developers listening to this, there's Post-it notes, emails, spreadsheets with usernames and passwords and credit card numbers. And this is just sort of modus operandi. And everyone knows it's wrong and bad, but it's just how they've had to do it. And so one of the key features that we developed with GoDaddy Pro is account access, which essentially allows a small business to provide authenticated access to their professional permanently or temporarily that enables them to go into their account and manage it and even buy things on their behalf. And at the end of the day, without ever sharing their credentials, their passwords, or their payment methods with the professional. And we think that's great for the small business. We think it's great for the pro. There's no password management, credit card expirations, all those kind of things. We're handling that all behind the scenes. And we think it's a killer feature that we're bringing to the platform across the board. And what's really cool about that is it, of course, works across the entire GoDaddy platform. We replaced the authentication system horizontally. And so domains, SSL certs, WordPress, hosting, email, all of it, you can essentially get into your client's account and manage their domain names, their certs, and basically take care of anything on the GoDaddy platform for us. So that's really, we think, one of the killer apps that we're bringing to the table right to start with.
And I also like the fact that you can also have as a developer or designer, you can have a staging area. So you can go ahead, you don't have to have a domain right away. You can get your website, your client started basically, show them the design. You've already mentioned security, so kind of don't have to worry about that anymore. You know, cousin Joe Bob coming in and looking at the password for my client. You know, and so you made things a lot easier, basically. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it's come down to, is you made things a lot easier for web developers and designers to basically conduct business.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to make it easy and save the professionals time, which in their case, they're billing for their time. Time is money, right? And so if they can manage one more client a month, or add an extra service to that client because they're getting rid of some of this administrative overhead, awesome. That's exactly what we want to do, because at the end of the day, it's about helping these guys succeed. And we hope if they succeed on the GoDaddy platform, more professionals will be here. They'll bring us more clients, and it's win-win-win for GoDaddy, for the pro, and for the clients all around.
I love that. It's a triple win. Triple win.
Triple win, man. Win-win isn't enough anymore. It's got to be the triple win, right? So.
Exactly. Yeah, love it, man. Love it. So
yeah, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Say, GoDaddy Pro. So the GoDaddy Pro, but it was kind of born out of kind of looking at 3 separate areas of needs, right? One being access, the second kind of being handoff, and then the third being support. So those were the 3 main drivers. Anything you'd like to talk about those areas?
I think that's great. I think there's a couple of things when you really study how professionals do business and really look at their entire life cycle with a client. You know, there's things that happen at the very beginning when you're getting a new client, account access, and even setting up their account to start with. And one of the cool features on that side is what we call shared shopping. So you can go in and at the very first meeting or after the meeting, literally send a shopping cart to your client with everything that they need or everything that you need to set up their website. And they can buy it and then as part of that process, delegate access to you. Or you can buy it on their behalf and stick it right in your account and manage those either way. And so we provide a lot of flexibility. Still with me?
Now there we are. Okay, we're back. So you provide a lot of flexibility. So gotta love Hangout gremlins. Every once in a while they do pop up.
Yeah, I guess that was a gremlin. That was my first, so I didn't see it. Fast little sucker. So all right. So where was I? So we were talking about the upfront process and how we're trying to simplify that. In addition, after an engagement, we want to make sure that the client, the pro, looks continually good to the client. If there's something that goes wrong with the website, the pro wants to be the first to know so that they can actually fix a problem and solve it maybe even before their customer knows. And that's why we bundled site monitoring as well. So as part of the process, you can set up site monitoring, monitor your website that's hosted at GoDaddy or otherwise. If there's a problem, you're going to get alerted via email or SMS. You can log in, hopefully using the new account access features, solve their problem, and look like a hero before anything goes sideways with your client. Certainly, nobody likes to get an angry call from your client saying my website's having a problem. So we're trying to solve these kind of problems.
I mean, again, you're making life a lot easier for the small business, whether it's the customer or the designer. Designer, they're fighting a battlefront on so many different fields, like you said, from being disorganized, having passwords all over the place, having to, worry about security all the time. And, at the same time, it's like, a smaller designer, they might only have maybe 10, 15 clients. They lose one of those clients because of a problem. And that's taking money out of their business. Like they've got to go. They're not only they're already hunting for new clients. It's like, I don't want to lose another one. So at the end of the day,
you've nailed it. I mean, we talked to a lot of these guys, and we co-developed GoDaddy Pro with our customers here. As a matter of fact, we literally had some professionals in the office sitting next to us, looking at the features that we are developing. This team is very agile. We've been testing and learning like crazy. We've had thousands of people in our beta. and been iterating like crazy on the features and just the language and the features and what we prioritize. And that's been incredibly helpful. The one other thing you mentioned, I don't want to leave it out, is support. Boy, support is a big thing when it comes to pros. Like pros, they know what they're doing, and when they have a problem, last thing they want to do is go through a phone tree, level 1, level 2, level 3 escalations of getting to somebody who knows the answer.
Yeah.
Right?
And getting that. So did you turn the computer off and on?
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it's not a necessarily GoDaddy thing, but just generally, right? These guys are pros. They do this for a living, right? Again, part-time or full-time. And one of the things we created, and this was a big part of the program, if you're part of GoDaddy Pro, you essentially get your own dedicated support team. And this is among the most senior people at GoDaddy. You get a special phone number, special chat and email service that goes right to the studs and studettes in the org that can solve the problem right away and get them back to business. So that's a big thing we're doing. It took a lot to put that together, a lot of incremental training. We have them all going through WordPress classes, of course, and certifications. Certainly a whole academy program that we developed. Frankly, for the savvier people on the phone, we actually stole most of this from Media Temple, right? And took the best practices from Media Temple, and they really had a world-class operation there. And we just really implemented a lot of the Media Temple playbook for the hosting team at GoDaddy. And this is one of the places that it really comes through, and we're seeing really high satisfaction from implementing those changes.
Yeah, and another thing with that group in particular is they are there 24/7. They are there around the clock. So if you are, especially if you are a moonlighter, freelancer, you're probably not working 9 to 5. You're probably working overnight. You may be doing stuff on the weekends. And if you call up and the support team on the other end of the line is doing banker's hours, that doesn't help you at all. So our folks are
right.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I love the fact that you said you stole it from Media Temple. So for those of you who don't know, actually GoDaddy bought Media Temple, so they didn't actually go over to their offices and steal it, No,
Media Temple is an important part of the company now. They're doing great. The team down there is fantastic. I was actually there on Monday morning, geeking out with those guys. So they're kicking and doing great.
Oh yeah, no, they've got an awesome team over there. One of the things that I heard is that kind of this whole product, the GoDaddy Pro, was basically you built it in conjunction with your customers, right? And I know you kind of touched on that a little bit, but if you could give us a little bit more detail, kind of how did you work together with the developers and the designers to build out the product and feature sets?
Sure, thanks. Do you want to take that?
Yeah, and there are a number of different ways that we have done it. As Jeff mentioned, on a regular basis, since we are developing and continuously deploying these new features out there, we're doing demos in the office here every week to our team, to other teams in the org. On a number of those demos, we've actually brought in developers from the local community to actually sit in shoulder to shoulder with our developers and give us the same kind of very, very unfiltered feedback that we would expect from anybody within the org. So we're doing that. We've had a number of different customer councils that we've run, and the customer council met on an ongoing basis at least 2-3 times a month, actually with a format very similar to this. We would do it over Google Hangouts, have a number of people on the phone. Here are the things that we're working on. Here are the things that we're thinking about. Please give us feedback, help make it better. Additionally, the other big thing that we've invested a lot of energy and a lot of time in over the last year in particular is actually going out into the community. So we've had folks at dozens of WordPress WordCamps over the last year. We had folks at WordCamp Minneapolis last weekend, WordCamp Maine coming up. We've got folks down at LoopConf working with developers this week in Las Vegas. And so it's really not trying to do things in a silo and then throw it over the wall. We're actually trying to go out and actually be engaged and be part of the community and hear what are the things that people are thinking about, what are the problems they're having, and try and bring those things back in and really have our developers and individuals work as evangelists and advocates for the customers and bring that insight back into the org.
Wait a minute, you're telling me there's actually real people who actually care about people at GoDaddy?
I know it's
That's what you're telling me?
crazy talk.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. The community around WordPress and Drupal and many of these ecosystems is really strong, and obviously people have a lot of opinions. Before I joined GoDaddy, I spent 2 years working at eBay as part of the Magento team. Magento has a very strong community that drives really the direction and the ecosystem of Magento as well. And when I came to GoDaddy, I found that in WordPress as well. And one of the first things we started doing is just unleashing our developers and sending them out to WordCamps and engaging with the community on the forums and things like that. That really wasn't a priority previously. So it's been a big change in culture and something which we give. I love giving back to those communities. We sponsor like crazy all of those events and send guys out and people out to those events as well. So it's definitely paying back both ways, I hope.
Well, I mean, it's just a great feedback loop, you know, and the fact that you're not only doing it online, like, you know, you said you're doing it with Hangouts and you're doing it with side by side, but you're actually hitting the ground and you're really talking to people face to face. That works, and again, it's a triple win, right? Because it's a win for you, it's a win for the designer, and at the end of the day, really, it's the win for the small business. Because
another thing that helps with that kind of engagement is we learn from the community learns from us. Everybody's deeply engaged. When we see great things happening out in the community, we also want to be sharing that and making sure that the rest of the world knows about that as well. And so it's really shining the spotlight on those individuals in the community, whether or not they work from GoDaddy. If they're doing great contributions, we want to make sure that folks know about it.
Actually, that's almost I'll make it a segue into the WordPress stuff. When I joined GoDaddy, I started going to WordCamps and talking to the leaders in the WordPress industry as well. And a couple of questions I asked, like, who should I be talking to and who should I hire, right, to help accelerate this stuff. And I got pointed to Sean from WP 101 over and over and over again by the WordPress community, and it ended up with a relationship where we licensed WP 101 and integrated it for all of our new managed WordPress customers. And if you go to a WordCamp, it's really hard to miss this guy, Ben Fox from Sidekick. This guy, I thought I had a lot of energy. Man, Ben has a lot of energy, right? And so he's impossible to miss at these things too. And the product that he's built has the same sort of goals in helping onboard and improve the onboarding and experience for WordPress. And so we've actually integrated both Sidekick and WP 101 into our WordPress offerings to really help that process of onboarding. And that's one of the things we announced as part of the new programs that we released with WordPress today.
Yeah, I mean, and you're right. That is a great segue. And Jeff, you totally stole the segue from me, which is okay.
Damn! Look at that. Sorry, man. Look, I couldn't leave it out there. It was hanging out there. It was too good, you know?
Well, you know, I was actually just kind of reviewing the managed WordPress product again before we got into this Hangout. And all I got to say is from the last time we've talked about it to today, I am just super impressed. You know, the fact that you have the staging area, the fact the automated backups, again, no domain needed, so very similar to the Pro, right? The mass migration feature, that is just invaluable for somebody who's with another host, maybe another different shared hosting platform. They're having problems, whatever the case may be. One-click mass migration, correct me if I'm wrong on that, that's monumental.
Actually, we've been really excited about that. We heard that loud and clear, really not only for getting people to move from WordPress, other WordPress hosts, but even from our shared hosting or VPS hosting to our managed platform. We wanted to make it really, really easy to enable migrations from WordPress to WordPress. And we worked with someone in the community. People know Mark Jakewith actually helped us with the migration tool. That's one of the reasons it's probably so badass, right? This thing is great. It's invaluable. It's used all the time. It's very straightforward. It succeeds 90+% of the time, first time, right? It's really, really, really good. And it's been a great feature. You did mention staging sites and SSH. I mean, when we launched, similar to WordPro, the Web Pro product, a GoDaddy Pro product, this is an iterative product. I mean, I watch companies in hosting sort of launch V1s and they just sit there and they're V1s forever. Like this team, I've got a dedicated team of people that are WordPress experts that are iterating on our WordPress product all the time, right? We're adding features, and we launched without SSL support, and 4 weeks later we had SSL, right? We added SSH, we added staging sites. We're working on some really cool stuff right now that's going to launch. And additionally, and there's just constant iterations going on, and it's really just a fun way to develop software. Right? Instead of the old waterfall methodology, we've got teams that are doing agile weekly sprints and just cranking code out. It's fantastic.
Yeah, the weekly demos are Friday afternoon, huge highlight of the week. It's like, okay, what kind of cool stuff did we get done this week? And you actually, you can feel it. It's palpable. You can actually see the progress taking place week over week.
That's pretty awesome. And also the Managed WordPress platform, I mean, it's built with security in mind right from the gate. I mean, you've got site lock, you've got spam security, you've got DDoS security. Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about what you've got going from the security side as well.
Yeah, we built this platform from the ground up for WordPress, right? And so that means you can optimize like crazy for WordPress. We've got dedicated database servers optimized for WordPress. We've got dedicated security and firewall rules optimized for WordPress. You're not loading a bunch of Joomla rules into the firewall every time you're running it, because you're only serving WordPress, right? We have specific caching layers, right? And this thing just smokes. And we are really proud and are really proud of how it performs, especially for the value. I mean, we're starting at $3.99 and our developer plan is $15.99, right? And that's some serious value for the global performance that you can get out of this thing. Where many of our competitors in the space are hundreds or even thousands of dollars a month for the same kind of volume and capabilities that we're bringing to the table. And frankly, again, sort of back to the win-win, it's great for us to have a homogeneous environment for WordPress because we can manage it more effectively, we can patch it, we can keep it up to date. There's going to be less security problems. It's going to be, a homogeneous environment is easier to manage than a heterogeneous one, right? Yep. And so it's win-win for us too. And because we're a scale player, we're adding thousands of new customers to this platform every day, right? We can afford to do it very cost effectively as well. And we're passing that right on to the pros, which are getting passed right on to the clients. So it's good stuff.
Yeah. I was going to say, one more thing on the platform. If you even go to our corporate blog, which is at garage.godaddy.com. We actually built that on Managed WordPress on the consumer product. So we completely dog-fooded our own blog. And actually, if you go to the bottom of any of the footers there, you can actually see a little glimpse into how the architecture is set up and such as well.
That's pretty awesome. Your support staff must love you, by the way. Okay, and your call center people must love you because I'm sure that the number of calls have gone down. From clients having problems, I mean, especially if they're not getting any kind of cross-scripting attacks, and the one big thing that I wanted to mention about the Managed WordPress package that you have is that you've also got a bunch of basically pre-screened plugins. And, as far as I was aware, like WP Engine was really the only people that were even playing in that space earlier, which was having pre-screened plugins, so that way you don't get a lot of bloated code, and more importantly, you're a very secure website. Is that pretty much right?
I think that's a great example. I mean, I think the WordPress industry and community, including guys like WP Engine, have set some standards out there for how you do this well, right? And we're learning from each other, right? And the plugin and whitelisting and blacklisting certain plugins to ensure high performance is one of the great things you can do if you're optimizing for a particular environment, right? We came out of the gate, I think, with it's an open environment. It's not a pure whitelist. We blacklist certain ones that we know are trouble, right? People want to run them, but you need to optimize them in particular ways. So we've just spent a lot of time really learning and even working with those plugin providers to help optimize them so that we can bring them on the platform as well. There's a few examples of some that were previously blacklisted that we've worked with the plugin provider to improve and then bring them into the platform now.
That's actually a pretty awesome insight right there. So you're helping them.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, really,
providers.
Yeah, it's great. Actually, we're about to launch some stuff. Should I talk about that? We're let's just say we have a lot of insight about how people use plugins on our platform, right? And I'm really excited about engaging with the community, especially the plugin providers, to do better, and basically take advantage of the fact that they're succeeding on the platform and that we can. Let's say do partnerships or do better integrations or things like that. Just so it's really going to be good for the plugin provider and for GoDaddy and certainly for the community at large.
Absolutely. And I remember, what was it, about a year and a half ago, we were also talking about the the local SEO product that you had. And I noticed that with the Managed WordPress program, you also kind of got that baked into that app as well.
Yeah, actually, there's some great SEO plugins. As a matter of fact, I will say, of course, the #1 category of plugin is not surprisingly SEO plugins. On WordPress, there's some super popular ones. Yoast is an awesome platform. A lot of our customers use it. The all-in-one SEO is super popular, and there's a long tail of SEO plugins on our platform. We acquired a company last year, actually maybe a little bit more than a year ago, called Loku, which is a bunch of just rock stars from MIT, mostly PhDs and stuff, and they built some really great SEO tools. And we bundle the SEO product from GoDaddy now with the basic and second tier WordPress product, and that is a wizard style. It's built for a small business who has no idea like what a header is. So if you give them a wizard, if you give them a page that says enter your header title here, they don't know what that is, right? And so the thing we've developed is meant to be very, very simple and straightforward for small businesses. And we bundled it with the basic packages. And I still expect an enormous amount of our customers to use things like Yoast and all-in-one. So.
Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, well, we kind of breezed over it, I should say. But so what's the future look like for these products? I mean, especially GoDaddy Pro, because that's it's in beta, right? So, it's not quite fully fleshed out.
Yeah, I think the reason we left the beta label on is because we're still adding stuff like crazy, right? And we're still an agile team, and we're iterating like crazy on the platform. It supports all of our products, but there are certain areas for certain TLDs that aren't yet done and things like that. So we didn't want people to have expectations that it was completely baked with every single feature and button. At the end of the day, though, it's really more of a, hey, look, we're going to co-develop this with this community. We want people to start get into GoDaddy.com/pro, use it, give us feedback, and expect to see their feedback taken seriously and acted on, right? And we're hoping to develop and make changes like crazy and really improve it as we go forward.
Right on. Cool. Well, awesome. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Chris, for joining us today. And everybody else, if you have any questions, definitely visit GoDaddy.com or leave a question here in the event stream, and I'm sure Jeff or Chris will get back to you. Do you guys have anything else you'd like to add?
Just go check it out at GoDaddy.com/pro, and we'll see you on the boards.
Yeah, thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you, Ben.
Excellent. All right. Thanks a lot, guys.